Hi, everyone. This is Kat V, and welcome to Spill the Tea with Kat V. On this podcast, I'm spotlighting professionals, healers, leaders, and those who are making a big impact in our communities in meaningful ways, especially around the field of wellness, healing, spirituality, and conscious living. And today, I'm so excited to introduce you to Rita Faruki. She is the founder of Sacred Earth Walks. She's a practicing shaman and provides spiritual experiences involving sacred earth walks, healing, and much more. She serves as a guide to open people's consciousness and how they can relate to the earth, which is so important these days. I want to thank you, Rita, for joining us and for being our guest here at Spill the Tea.
Thank you so much, Kat. I'm excited to be here, and I'm a great admirer of what you are doing as well. It takes all of us to shine our light and do our work.
Thank you. So excited to have you here with us. And so I wanted to start off with my first question, which is, can you please share and explain a little bit about your nature-based ceremonies and rituals?
Sacred Earth Walks was really born out of my years growing up in the hardwood forests of Ohio. As a child, I was so comfortable in the woods. At 5 years old, I would be out there with the trees, and I learned if I sat really still that the birds would almost sit on my shoulder, the snakes would slither by, and the muskrats would play in the stream. So very early on, I learned that nature was where I felt safe and I felt unconditional love, and it became my church. So Sacred Earth Walks, when I retired, I felt the pull to do something that basically I wanted to do with people what I have been doing in the woods by myself for years and years. And I found that nature, of course, is healing. As I take people out on the land and provide different experiences, their transformation has really been profound. In our really busy world, not a lot of people are either connected to nature or feel like they have time to be out. So it's a real gift that when they come to Sedona, we can get out on the land together and find what nature has to offer each person.
Thank you. So beautiful. Yeah, you mentioned that you started this beautiful soul-aligned business during retirement. What were you doing beforehand?
My background is in teaching. Right after college, I went into the Peace Corps, and about 2 weeks after I graduated from college, I was in Morocco. I left my country and my friends and my family behind. Really, it was kind of an epic journey of finding out who I was without all the trappings of society. It was a time of learning how to really be alone as well as function in another culture. Then when I came back, I got a job teaching in Colorado, and again I was working with foreign students from all over the world. And I never wanted to teach in traditional settings, so I set my sight on how I could be a teacher with either cross-cultural experiences or just really unusual situations. I also taught with the Navajos. I lived with the Navajos in the Four Corners area of Arizona, and that was again another cross-cultural experience. Then in my Albuquerque phase, because I've lived in 5 states, and in my Albuquerque phase, I was working in aerospace of all things, but it provided a kind of a solid base of income and a stability in my life where it allowed me then to learn actually all of the things that I am teaching now. So I had Native American friends. We did a lot of rituals and ceremonies together. I studied animal communication, second degree Reiki, all those esoteric sciences. I became a shaman. I'm a practicing shaman. So that aerospace job gave me a foundation where I could just go out and learn all of these other pieces. Then in Wyoming, I worked for the Nature Conservancy, which is the largest environmental organization in the world. I taught there. I taught students. I taught out on our nature preserves. I worked with our trustees and would take them out for nature experiences. So my teaching experience has been really varied and very wide.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. And how did you get into your solo line business? And the question really is like that transition. How are you able to transition from, working, doing the job you were doing beforehand to retirement to doing the solo line business? How did you do that?
I think when I retired, I really felt that I had a blank canvas, as most of us do. And the greatest pull for me was A, to be of service in some way, and to continue teaching, but teaching in a way that allowed me to work with a lot more people. So I joined actually the Chamber of Commerce, our local Chamber of Commerce, which was a really good decision. They allowed me to take classes. They had a lot of resources that helped me with my website, helped me get my business cards and rack cards printed. They promote me on the Chamber's website, which actually draws a lot of people in. I don't do a lot of marketing. That is not something I enjoy. And I'm not out there, with all kinds of publications or advertisements. I just am quietly going about my work. And I find that the universe is sending me the most perfect people to work with in a flow that suits my lifestyle, so I don't feel really stressed, and it is just a very nice flow for me. So for people that are looking to find their soul aligned business, my suggestions is first of all to start simple and find the joy in what you're doing. And this will tell Spirit that you are ready. Spirit will actually do the rest, dropping what I call spiritual breadcrumbs in your path that's going to lead you to this higher adventure and higher service. Maybe 3 to 5 steps or goals that you feel you need to take. So in other words, don't overwhelm yourself with all of the do's, but take 3 to 5 things and set your sights on these smaller goals. There will be enough light in your life for the next step and the next step. So you may not see the end result. So this requires a lot of trust in Spirit, and just keep following your heart, following your joy, and Spirit will really do the rest. And then in the kind of the 3D level, I would go ahead and join your local chamber or find those small business resources that are out there. Talk to people you admire who can assist you on your way. Do your research. And then talk to your higher self and your guides out loud and invite them to help you. They are waiting for you. You must ask. So I always say ask and ask often. This tells them where you are at and what you are ready for. And they are your spiritual cheerleading team. They want you to succeed. So as you listen for that small intuitive voice and then carry that out at the 3D level, the universe is always providing, always supporting. Don't worry so much about the money. The money will come, and there is no better time than right now to be creating. There's a lot of support for those of us that are stepping out into our power and putting our work out there. Whatever gift you have, there is someone that needs your light.
Wonderful advice. Resonate so much with that. And my audience, they're actively looking for ways to deepen their healing, exploring mindful practices, and connecting with their higher selves. So this is exactly a perfect conversation. And the next question has something to do with this. So a lot of the people that purchase my teas are looking to connect with their higher selves. They're looking to heal their mind, bodies, and souls. So my question for you is, how do your sacred walks do the same thing or similar? How do they help people maybe connect to their higher selves or work on their entire body, energetic or spiritual bodies?
I think that in my work, nature works through me. So it's not that I'm such a great healer. There's not a lot of ego in what I do. I am a conduit. I am a journey guide. So when I take people out on the land, there's a different frequency coming from our animal brothers and sisters and our friends of the plant and rock worlds. The trees and the rocks that have been here for so long contain great patience and wisdom. And once the clients are out in nature, disconnected from the cacophony of life, from technology, once they slow down, they can hear themselves think. They can feel their feelings and get in touch with what I call their soul song. Their shoulders relax, their heart rate becomes calm. Sometimes we are so tied into our minds and our thoughts that we don't even notice the beautiful sky and the clouds. I had one woman who said that once the stress of the veil of stress was lifted, she saw the sky for the first time in weeks. So ensconced was she in her mental patterns, she was not even aware of the larger world around her. So I ask people to bring a journal and give them moments to write where they often get clear answers and clear insights. And out of that is born a decision to maybe make some small changes, decide to build an altar at home, decide to change their morning habits, write down new informations to change their mental patterns. The answers are given to them as they slow down and quell the distraction of society. So nature has a frequency, and I know you get that because of your frequency teas. Nature has a frequency, plants put out music, even the stars hum and sing. So it's a symphony out there. And when we slow down and allow that music to come to us, then we begin to sing our soul song.
Beautiful. I would love to explore a little bit what you mean. You're mentioning the soul song. How does that come through to a person?
So if you think about it, there are no two fingerprints alike on the planet, which is mind-boggling. I forget what the population of the planet is right now, but no two fingerprints are alike. Likewise, no one has your light and your frequency. You are a beautiful note in the symphony of the universe. So each one of us has a note that we contribute to this larger universal song. Really, it's following your joy. When we drop into our hearts and we are doing the things that give us joy, that is what leads us to our soul song. That is your soul song, is what gives you joy. And following that path and walking that path is contributing to the music of the universe.
Beautiful. Beautiful. I often tell people the same exact thing, that we're each a unique frequency, that it is that there's infinite amount of frequencies anyways. It's infinite, and that is exactly what source is. It's a combination of all the frequencies in one, and that we are a unique frequency and we're in a physical form right now, but we are also energetic, spiritual. There's so much to us, complex as humans, but at our core we are a vibration, we are a frequency, and that we need
Exactly.
to remember what that is. I think we know what that is when we're born as babies and children, and then over time we forget who we are and forget that frequency and that vibration. And then maybe, for me, I remembered it in my 40s. I'm 45 now, and had my second awakening in my 40s. And only now am I really realizing, wow, I understand now that frequency and how important it is to also find people that are in similar frequencies too, so that it's harmonious and you feel so just saturated with love and union. Because even if we're unique frequencies, when we're together, it's even stronger and we can build a bigger resonance together, especially when we're filled with so much love and devotion.
Really well said. I love how you phrased all of that. So, speaking of being childlike, one of the things I often do with people is, when we're growing up, we often have a favorite tree. A tree that we like to sit under, maybe we read or we like to climb. And everyone has a tree memory. But that memory dims as we become adults and get caught up in all of our activities and our to-do list. And when I'm out on the land with people, if it feels right, I give them permission to go back and find that child and find that tree in your memory. And then we work with trees out on the land. And it is so incredibly powerful. A lot of people cry. And, you give them permission to talk to trees again, like they did when they were a child. So that's a really important activity. Also, for people that are more science-minded, and I love science, and we're in an age where science and spirituality are merging more and more, but our technology now is allowing us, they have instruments out in space, and they're recording the sounds in space. So it is not just dead silence. There are sounds in space. And also, there's a gentleman on YouTube who is hooking electrodes or little, I'm not sure exactly what he's doing, but he hooks plants up to a synthesizer, and you can meditate and listen to the song of the plants. So everything is singing. Everything is singing. So find your song, find your soul song, and walk that path.
I love that. Find your soul song and walk that path. I love that. That's a beautiful message and so refreshing to hear that.
You know, it's actually fairly easy. We tend to overcomplicate things. Like my friends and I have a funny saying, we're like, oh, give me a minute to overcomplicate this, right? We get parked intellectually and then we overthink it. But what you and I are talking about is actually a very simple process. It involves slowing down, it involves breathing, and it involves being comfortable just being in a sacred space without doing anything, without thinking anything. And as we spend that time in that sacred space, things are revealed to us very simply and very easily, coming from our higher selves, from our guides, whatever your belief system is. And I make room for all belief systems. There's no right or wrong. Everyone has a path that they're following in their belief system. So whatever your system allows for, whether it's angels or just a higher self, or whether it's animals or plants, these things will come to you once you slow down and open and make space. When we're too busy, there's no space for any of the magic to come in.
So true. Yeah, and stillness is when we really can receive downloads from universe, or we're in these states of receiving information. It comes from such subtleties, and being in that stillness is key.
You said a really good word, that it's really subtle. A lot of guidance, it's not noisy. Our guides are not taking out billboard advertisements. It's very quiet, it's very subtle, and you have to be really present and centered to hear it.
Beautiful reminder. Yeah, I think that definitely is how a lot of people receive the messages from their spirit guides. You've talked about it. I mean, I shared that it's subtle as well, but sometimes it's like if you're not paying attention, you may miss it. We're focused on the noise instead of what's really right in front of us sometimes. I think it's easy to get caught up in the external and then miss out on what maybe internally is happening, or the messages that our spirit guides are kind of leaving behind, whether it's through environmental, sometimes it's an environmental message, and other times it could be in our dreams. There's so many ways that we receive messages. Is there a certain way that you receive your messages from your spirit guides?
There's a couple of ways. One way is through dreams, and I teach a dream class at one of the resorts I'm working at currently. And people will come to the class and say, I don't remember my dreams, I wish I did. And so a large part of the class is discussing how to open yourself up to the messages of your dreams, because they're too tired or too busy to get that input. So I do get messages in my dreams. I do have visions, and these visions are given to me. I have no control over them. I can't close my eyes and say, okay, I'm going to have a vision now. But it just comes into my field, and usually is a vision of nature with some kind of message. I also get intuitive hits, and what it feels like to me, and everyone is going to be different, I feel like it's almost like a lightning bolt coming in on the right side of my body and exiting out the left. So there's an energetic impulse that's coming in, that's bringing information. So I guess those are kind of the three ways that I get messages. But I want to encourage everyone that you have your own way of receiving guidance. It could be that you are more body centric, so that your messages come through your body. through your heart, through your stomach. Different areas of your body can receive messages. So just be open to what works for you. There is no right or wrong way. And the more you let your guides know that you are willing and open to receiving messages, the more that you will begin to cultivate it.
What inspires you to do what you do in your work?
I think my inspiration comes from that deep love and respect that I have for nature, that I can be a voice for her because she works through me. Again, this is not that I'm so great and so powerful. It's like I'm a willing conduit, I'm a willing servant to her. And because there's such great destruction of our environment at this time, I think that nature needs help getting her voice out there. So nature basically is my inspiration. And of course, most of us have a desire to serve or be of help. This could be something very small, doesn't have to be really big. Could be that you are helping an elderly neighbor. It could be that you are volunteering at your local humane society. But most of us have implanted in us that desire to be of service to something greater than ourselves. And this goes along with what we were talking earlier about finding what your service is and performing that service even in small ways. In these times, everything matters. There is nothing that is small or unimportant in the way that we live our lives. So you have to believe in what you have to offer, knowing that you just adding your little brand of light to an activity or to something is carried far beyond what you are cognizant of.
That's a great way of expressing and giving hope to a lot of our viewers that are looking to transition from the 9 to 5 job into a more soul aligned business. And so, a question I have for you is, how long did it take you to set up your current business, and any kind of tips that you have around that?
Well, my business, first of all, is just me. I don't have a cadre of employees. It's just me. So I think it was really what I said earlier about step by step, where I joined the chamber and saw what they had to offer and just kind of followed some of their little classes, and I got on their website and I just stayed open to a lot of the opportunities that were available in my community. People began to know me and they say, "Oh, would you come and speak for 15 minutes on such and such?" So all those little, again, spiritual breadcrumbs I would follow. If I had to put a timeline on it, it might have taken me a year of following these breadcrumbs until it started to feel more solid. But I wouldn't worry about the time for these people that is your audience that are looking to create a soul-aligned business. Let the universe worry about the timeline. And you keep following your heart, following the little opportunities that are going to come your way. If there's something, an opportunity that you see that sounds like fun or I'd like to do that, go ahead and do that, because everything you do is adding to your it's adding to your skills and your talents and opening door after door. Because when you do, like when I would do a 15-minute talk somewhere, well then I would meet someone who said, "Oh, I really loved what you said. Will you come and talk to my group?" So doors open that you are not aware of. So it requires a lot of faith in yourself and a lot of trust in the process. And for some people, it might happen really fast. It might all of a sudden they are off and running in a very short time. So I wouldn't worry too much about a timeline. Time is a construct in our 3D reality, and everything is speeding up on these days, right? The planet herself is ascending. Everything is happening really fast. So don't worry about a timeline. Just have fun and follow your heart.
Thank you. That's a beautiful message. And, I have to remember that sometimes myself. This year has been such full of adversity for so many of us, whether it's been financial or health, or, dissolution of spouses and families and structures of government.
Yeah, yeah.
much, so much uneasiness. Sometimes it feels a little bit dark sometimes. And so, yeah, like what advice can you give those that feel stuck, that feel like maybe they have started their soul aligned business, but it's not moving forward, or they're not getting clients or business? How do you give them some encouraging words?
That's a great question. When we feel stuck, as we all do, myself included, I have not mastered that. But when we feel stuck, it is a sign that we are operating out of our mind and we have shut a lot of the doors that are right in front of us. There's always options and there's always choices available to us. But when we feel stuck, you can kind of feel like that's me shutting the veil down on my opportunities. Sometimes we do need to sit in that stuckness and just say, well, nothing's happening right now, or well, that door's shut. And then you're in sacred waiting. Sacred waiting, where you're saying to the universe, okay, I don't know what my next step is. I will wait for you to show me. And so there's, the mind and the ego want to perform. And the ego always has a really big to-do list. So when you fall back into the timing of the heart is slower. So you just have to get comfortable with, okay, I'm stuck right now. I accept where I am, but not the permanence of this situation. You accept the moment. I'm stuck. Okay, I'm going to go do something else. I'm going to go read a book. I'm going to go have fun. I'm going to go volunteer, do something, and allow that energy to move and get unstuck. So sometimes it doesn't require you to do. It requires you to go into sacred waiting. And you have to kind of discern what is mine to do right now and what is the thing that I actually need to go out and do to get myself unstuck. Sometimes being stuck is a sign from our guides that that's not the door for you right now. We have something better.
Yeah.
So I feel like the universe doesn't say no. The universe says yes. It says not now. Or it says, I have something better for you.
Wow, that's a great way to look at our obstacles. Thank you. Beautiful. Beautifully said. In terms of your favorite client stories, I'd love to hear a favorite client story of yours.
Well, it's more of a composite story. There are people who come carrying some burden, and I have seen the light in their eyes become clearer and more radiant as a result of our session together. People cry after sometimes we work with trees. I had a woman who 2 years after we did a session together, she texted me and thanked me because she said the trees had become such a spiritual part of her life and she used them in her practices. I think she was a counselor, if I remember right, and in her shamanic journeys as well. So I think it's just a composite story about people finding their way in a new way once they go back home. Sometimes they create new patterns. They create an altar that they hadn't ever done before in their room. They create sacred space for themselves out in their garden. But those small steps that they got in touch with when they were out on the land, and then they go home and they implement those steps, and it opens doors and leads them to a whole new path.
Thank you. Thank you. And, I'm curious about if you could talk to your 20-year-old self today, if you could go to your 20-year-old self, what is it that you would tell her?
Tell her to know herself, and this will help her make decisions to not leave herself for a second for the desires and distractions of others, of mass consciousness, of the chaos of 3D reality. I would tell her to be in her heart more, to let the heart lead. The heart is the true seat of intelligence, not the head. I would tell her to be with her feelings without judgment or shame, more self-love and acceptance. We always need more love, not less. And I would say to people that are listening to find that thing about yourself that is profound about you. Find that thing, no matter how small. What is profound about you? And then go and live that light and walk that path, whatever it is. Whether you're an artist and you create things, whether you're a singer, whether you are a caregiver, whatever it is in this moment, find that thing and honor it and believe in your gifts and trust in yourself. No matter what has happened to you in the past, we all have our stories. We all have our stories of shame and sorrow and depression and wrong turns taken in our lives. Everyone has a story. Do not let the story define you. In fact, it is one of the facets of the crystal of your being. It is one of the things that makes you you. It is one of the things that makes you now go out and do your soul business. Because of what may have happened to you, it becomes a strength. It becomes a path of wisdom. It becomes the thing that you can offer other people for their darkness as a way to get out of where they feel stuck.
Yes, I've heard that so much before, where our light comes from our darkness moments. Sometimes our gifts are what are activated when we have a very, you could say like a negative experience or dark, or went through the shadows of our experiences in order to bring us to the light, to the path, to the gifts that we're meant to share. So that's such a beautiful reminder for all of us.
And if someone is feeling like, I still don't know what my gifts are, what do I have to offer? Then go, there's so many wonderful books out. Go read a book about someone who, had some incredible experiences in their life, and then they wrote a book as a way to show others how to move through their own disasters. Watch a movie. There's really inspiring movies about people who have triumphed and made it through challenges. So just kind of feed yourself with some of these other stories, and you'll begin to see, okay, yeah, I do have something that I can offer. I can do this or I can do that. So in other words, don't feed yourself the negative, feed yourself the uplifting and the positive, and find those resources, whether it's a book or a movie or a podcast, that's going to feed your own light. And from there, you'll be able to move forward.
Great advice. And our listeners may want to, we may have listeners that are out in Sedona or that visit. So how can people get a hold of you? What's the best way to reach out to you?
I do have a website called sacredconcierge.com, CONCIERGE. So you think about, in the resort industry, all the hotels have a concierge. So what is a concierge? It's someone you go to and you say, oh, what is there to do in town? And they say, well, you can do this and you can do that. And so I'm a sacred concierge. Like, people come to me and I customize their experiences. Well, maybe we'll do a little bit of this or a little bit of shamanism. Maybe we'll go talk to trees. So I offer kind of a palette of opportunities. So I do have the website. I am on the Sedona Chamber of Commerce website as well. I am a member of the Sedona Metaphysical Spiritual Association. So I'm on their website. And on my own website is my cell phone and my email, so you can email me that way. So
Wonderful. And is there anything else that you want to share with our viewers, whether it's anything upcoming you have, any events, any fun resources, or just any last messages?
any last messages? I think that, Pat, you and I are just two small examples of people who found their way and are now walking our path. And use us as a mirror to reflect back to your own heart what it is that you have to give to the world, because we need what everyone can give in these times as we go through this ascension process. Everyone has a gift and everyone is needed. Think about the web of life and how every animal, every plant has a place on the web of life. And not all animals can do what the raccoon does or what the bear does. That's why all the animals are needed on that web for that web to be complete. And we too are members of that web of life. And everyone has a light to shine and a gift to give. And this is the time. This is the time to walk your power, to walk your path. We don't have time to say, I have nothing to offer. Now is the time, and there's a lot of spiritual resources out there for those who are wanting to find their way on the planet. So I thank you. I thank you, Kat. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Rita, for joining us today. And thank you, viewers, for your time. I'm looking forward to reconnecting with you, Rita, hopefully doing a walk myself with you in person.
I would love to see you again, Kat. Thank you so much for finding me and giving me this opportunity to talk and to be with you as well. So I look forward to continuing our friendship.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye bye.